The bandit leader's eyes widened in surprise as he heard the loud boom and saw the plume of smoke rising up from the valley. He turned to his men, a mixture of excitement and fear in his voice. "That must be it," he said. "The treasure. We've found it." His words sent a shiver of excitement through the bandits, who had been searching for the treasure for months. Without hesitation, the bandit leader ordered his men to move towards the source of the explosion, hoping to be the first to claim the treasure for themselves. This distraction provided a much-needed break for Marcy's group. They took advantage of the bandits' confusion and quickly gathered their wits. "Come on, we have to move," Marcy yelled to the others. Oliver nodded in agreement. "We need to get out of here while they're distracted. Follow me." The group followed Oliver as he led them towards the edge of the cliff. They scrambled down the rocky slope, the bandits' shouts and footsteps growing fainter in the distance. As they reached the bottom, Marcy turned around and surveyed their surroundings. The bandits were nowhere in sight. "Looks like we made it out," she said, letting out a sigh of relief. "But for how long?" Oliver replied. "We need to keep moving, find a place to rest and plan our next move." The group continued to move further away from the cliff, keeping a low profile as they scanned their surroundings for any signs of danger. The adrenaline rush from the close encounter with the bandits was wearing off, and exhaustion began to set in. Marcy could see the fatigue on the faces of her companions and knew they needed a break. Over there, she pointed to a small cave in the distance. "We can rest there for a while." The group made their way to the cave, careful to keep an eye out for any potential threats. Once inside, they collapsed onto the rocky floor, grateful for the chance to catch their breath. "We need to figure out our next move," Marcy said, breaking the silence. "I agree," Oliver said, pulling out a map from his backpack. "According to this, we're not too far from the nearest town. We can restock on supplies and plan our next move from there." Lily sat up from where she had been resting and spoke up. "Actually, I might be able to help with that. My family has some connections in the area. They might be able to provide us with some assistance." Marcy looked at Lily in surprise. "Really? That would be amazing. Do you think they can help us?" Lily nodded. "I think so. I can't guarantee anything, but it's worth a shot." Oliver looked at Lily skeptically. "How do we know we can trust your family?" Lily hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I know it's hard to trust anyone in these circumstances, but my family has been living in this area for generations. They know the land and the people. They might be able to help us." Marcy looked between the two of them, then spoke. "We don't have many other options at this point. Let's take the chance and see if Lily's family can help us." "Sounds like a good plan to me," Lily said. "We could all use a good night's sleep before we continue." Oliver nodded in agreement. "I'll take first watch. Marcy, you can take second." The group settled into a comfortable silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Marcy couldn't help but think about the events of the day and the danger they had faced. She felt a sense of responsibility for the safety of the group and couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As she took her turn on watch, Marcy sat at the entrance of the cave, scanning the dark night for any signs of danger. The sounds of crickets and other night creatures filled the air, and the occasional rustle of leaves made her jump. But as the night wore on, Marcy began to relax. She felt a sense of calm settle over her, and she allowed herself to close her eyes for a moment. It was only a few seconds, but it was enough for her to hear the faint sound of footsteps approaching the cave. Marcy's eyes shot open, her heart racing. She grabbed her weapon and stood up, ready to defend her group. But as the figure emerged from the darkness, she relaxed. It was just Lily, returning from a quick trip outside to relieve herself. "Sorry, didn't mean to startle you," Lily said with a smile. Marcy let out a sigh of relief and sat back down. "It's fine. I'm just on edge." Lily sat down next to her. "I know the feeling. But we're safe for now. We have each other's backs." Marcy nodded, grateful for Lily's words. She knew that they were in this together, and that thought brought her a sense of comfort. As the night wore on, the rest of the group fell asleep one by one. Marcy and Lily sat at the mouth of the cave, staring out into the darkness. The moon had risen high in the sky, casting a pale glow over the landscape. "You know, I never thought I'd be on the road like this," Lily said, breaking the silence. Marcy turned to her, a small smile playing at the corner of her lips. "Yeah, it's definitely not what I imagined myself doing either." "So, where are you headed?" Lily asked, curious about Marcy's journey. "I'm actually traveling to the city," Marcy replied. "There's something I need to find there." Lily raised an eyebrow. "What is it that you're looking for?" "It's a machine," Marcy said hesitantly. "I know it sounds crazy, but it's really important to me." Lily nodded understandingly. "I know how that feels. I'm looking for something important too." "What is it that you're looking for?" Marcy asked. Lily hesitated for a moment before responding. "It's an heirloom that belonged to my family. It was stolen years ago and I've been searching for it ever since." "I see," Marcy said, nodding in understanding. "Well, maybe the machine we're looking for can help you find it." Lily looked at Marcy curiously. "Machine? What machine?" Marcy explained about the machine and how it could help them locate things using advanced technology. Lily's eyes widened with excitement. "That sounds incredible. Maybe it could actually help me find the heirloom." "We won't know until we find it," Marcy said with a small smile. "But it's worth a try." There was a moment of silence as they both gazed out into the night. "I have to admit, I was a bit scared when I first met you all," Lily said finally. "But you guys seem like good people." "I'm glad I'm with you." Marcy nodded. "Yeah, we're a bit of a ragtag group, but we look out for each other." Lily smiled. "I can tell. It's nice to be a part of something like that." The two women continued to chat, lost in conversation as the night grew darker around them. Despite the danger that lay ahead, Marcy felt a sense of comfort in having someone to talk to about her troubles. As the sun rose, the group stirred from their slumber. Marcy sat up and rubbed her eyes, feeling the exhaustion from her watch. Oliver was already up, his eyes scanning the surrounding area for any signs of danger. Lily was stretching and getting ready for the day ahead. After packing up their camp, the group set out on the path that Marcy had been following. Her father walked with her, trying to keep up with her brisk pace. Oliver was walking next to Lily, and they were deep in conversation. As they walked, Marcy's father began to lag behind, struggling to keep up with Marcy's long strides. Marcy noticed and slowed down, waiting for him to catch up. "Are you okay, Dad?" Marcy asked, concern lacing her voice. Her father nodded, but she could see the fatigue in his eyes. I'm fine, Marcy. Just getting old, I guess. Marcy smiled sympathetically. You're not old, Dad. We've just been walking for a while. Take a break if you need to. They continued walking, with Marcy slowing down every so often to allow her father to catch up. Oliver and Lily were still engrossed in their conversation, occasionally glancing back to make sure the rest of the group was keeping up. As they walked, the landscape began to change. The trees became taller and denser, blocking out most of the sunlight. The ground beneath their feet became muddier, and they had to watch their step to avoid slipping. After a few hours of walking, Marcy spoke up. We're getting close. The path should lead us straight to the river. The group picked up the pace, eager to reach their destination. After a few more minutes of walking, they heard the sound of rushing water in the distance. As they rounded a bend in the path, the river came into view. The river was wide and fast-moving, with a bridge spanning across it. On the other side of the bridge was a small village, with smoke rising from the chimneys of the houses. We made it, Marcy said, relief evident in her voice. Oliver and Lily smiled in agreement, but Marcy's father looked worried. What if they don't want us there? He asked. Marcy put a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, Dad. Lily's family has connections here. They'll help us. With that, the group crossed the bridge and entered the village, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.